everybody. Today we're going to cover 10 essential tools that every flameworker should have to make your life easier, improve your workflow, and just generally make you work more efficiently. The first tool we're going to talk about is the Infiniv constrictor tool made by Firekist. I call it the wheel jacks because essentially that's what they do. They make jack lines very efficiently and quickly. Now there's a lot of tools that are designed for this purpose. Most of them are called V tools. There's graphite ones and brass ones. The graphite ones I've found tend to get dull over time, and the brass ones you got to keep them waxed. But this tool works the same way, but it consists of two wheels. And so you can actually adjust these so they're further or closer apart depending on the size of tubing that you're using. Here's how they work.
First, I heat where I want to make the cut. I have to get the glass pretty hot, and stretching it a little helps. Once I have the heat I need, I move from the flame to the wheel jack. I apply very light pressure at first, increasing the pressure as the glass cools. As I increase the pressure, a clean centered jack line is created. And once the piece is cool enough to be brittle, the glass will break at the line, leaving a very clean opening. This tool is solidly built and should last a long time with little or no maintenance.
You can get this tool from Mountain Glass. There's a link in the description below. The next tool is one that most flameworkers are familiar with already, the Bunsen burner. It's one thing to have a Bunsen burner on a lathe, but having one at the bench is also very useful. Not only does it provide a constant heat source and a way to quickly restore your heat base while you're working on a piece, it also is great for repairs. If you have a lathe, you no doubt have at least one Bunsen burner on that lathe. But many flameworkers don't use them at the bench, and sometimes I wonder why.
I consider a foot pedal to be very important because it leaves my hands free while I turn the burner off and on. This one is a prototype I picked up a while back from HickDog. Since then, however, he has collaborated with Mad Hatter to make a much nicer one that you can now order. There's a link in the description for this device. The beauty of a benchtop Bunsen burner is that you can run it when you are doing tedious little tasks that put the entire piece at risk. By holding the piece above or near the Bunsen flame, you can easily maintain the heat base, greatly extending the amount of time you have to complete the task.
Bunsen burners come in a variety of different configurations, all of which are available at outlets like Mountain Glass or Whale Apparatus or ABR or Blast Shield. There is a link in the description below for a number of suppliers that sell Bunsen burners. This next tool is an adaptation of a tool that is used in the hot shop. That is the Sophietta. A small one like this with a graphite tip is very, very useful for flameworkers. It comes in two configurations, straight and bent neck. I use the straight one sometimes, but the bent neck one is the one that I really use a lot. Now the bent neck one enables you to puff into a closed piece without having to handle up to it. The Sophietta is designed to be puffed through using your mouth. But it is possible to hook your blow hose up to it. This is how I do it. I use this boot, which is 12mm size, and put the back end of the boot on the Sophietta. Then I put my smallest graduated stopper in the front end of the boot, and voila! I can blow through it through the blow hose. This is really convenient for doing things like repairs or things where you're not handled up. You've got to get a puff into the piece when you don't have any other way to do it. This works really well. Sophiettas, there's a link to Mountain Glass's version. I believe this is the Blast Shield version of it. So you can get it from Blast Shield or Mountain Glass. Links in the description below. This next tool is the only one I'll be featuring today that could qualify as being expensive. But it's such a time saver that it's guaranteed to pay for itself over time. This is the Trivium Sleeve Press. The sleeve press is a very slick tool. It's simple. It's a graphite press that slides open and closed so that you can put different diameters in this space. And it's got a little millimeter measurement over here on the side. But I prefer to use a pair of calipers to get the measurement that I need. Here, let me show you.
First, I measure the inside diameter of my sleeve. Then, I set the sleeve press using the inner diameter tines on the caliper. With the sleeve press set, I just have to prepare the inner bubble and make it fit in the press. It usually takes a few attempts to get it perfect. Once I have the diameter I want, I remove the second handle, give it one final heat, and then check to make sure it fits perfectly.
I personally have gotten a lot of use out of this tool. It certainly makes setting up sleeves a lot easier. The only place I know to get it is Trivium Designs. There's a link in the description below. The next tool on our list today is one that I designed. This is a little shameless self-promotion, even though I don't make any money on these. This is the Wedge. It's a paddle, a graphite paddle, but it has a very unique design. At this edge, it's 3 millimeters, and it tapers at an angle up to 20 millimeters. And then at this end of the paddle, it's 20 millimeters, and it tapers up to 40 millimeters. So it's 3 to 40 in a continuous angle, which means that you can place this tool in any tight spot between 3 millimeters and 40 millimeters, no matter what the distance is. Now, here's a demonstration for how it works.
To demonstrate how the wedge works, I will create a series of Marias and then fine-tune both the Marias and the tube in between them using the wedge. This task would be tricky with just a simple paddle, but the graduated angle of the wedge makes it easy. This is extremely useful when making complex shapes on the lathe. I use the wedge to make all of my joints. The wedge is primarily a lathe tool, but it can be used at the bench in some limited applications.
This tool is made exclusively by Taglia Tool Company. I designed it, they manufacture it, so you need to contact them for purchase. Link in the description below. The next tool we're going to cover today is another of my designs, the egg. I designed this tool a number of years ago, and it's been manufactured by a number of different people, but Taglia Tool manufactures it today. This tool is a parabolic reamer, meaning that this curve along the edge here is a parabola. Since it's not straight in any area, it means that you can touch the inside of the glass that you're flaring at any point without leaving a line from a sharp corner. This is a very, very efficient flaring tool. Let me demonstrate it for you.
As you can easily see, the ability to touch the inside of the bubble anywhere you want really makes forming rounded shapes easy. Note how I can fine-tune the shape using the parabolic curve. The egg can also do standard flares just as well as an ordinary straight reamer or a pair of jacks. Finally, the egg is a terrific solution to fine-tuning the radius where two tubes of different sizes are joined. The steepness of the radius can be adjusted simply by changing the angle of the tool.
Like all Taglia tools, it's made of very dense graphite. Now I've deliberately selected an old one. This sucker is at least 10 years old, and you can tell it's got a little wear on it and some chips that were taken out of it, but that's not from use, that's from dropping it on the floor. If you don't drop it on the floor, this thing will last a long, long time. Not only that, but when they do wear out, they're easy to replace. Just take off the handle, you can buy yourself a new egg. Link in the description below. How many of you have seen one of these before? This is a golden hot ceramic heater. It's a little kiln. It's made for hair curlers. Who would have ever thought that it would be such a useful item for flame workers? Inside this little kiln, it'll maintain a temperature of about 900 degrees, which is very useful to have on your benchtop to keep little bits warm.
Have you ever had a piece of silver or gold pop off the end of your fuming rod? Preheating in this little kiln will prevent that. Murini slices and opals can be kept quite toasty even right at the front of the kiln because it stays really hot right there.
These little benchtop kilns are very affordable and they don't use much more power than a light bulb. And yet, they are so efficient and so useful. I had this one for well over 10 years, and it still works like the day I bought it, even though it's a bit beat up and dirty. You can buy these on Amazon or any number of different places. The best brand is Golden Hot. That's the one I use. And you can go straight to the Golden Hot website, buy them there too, for about the same price you can get them on Amazon. Anyway, there's a link in the description below. This next item isn't so much a tool as it is a flameworker's life hack. Heat-proof silicone stoppers. You can buy these at a number of different places. McMaster Carr has them in umpteen different sizes and colors, so many that it can be confusing. But Mountain Glass has the particular sizes that you might need for specific purposes. These are silicone based, but they are also very resistant to heat and can withstand temperatures up to 600 degrees for 20-30 minutes without changing or being damaged at all. But what they don't tell you is that they can withstand even higher temperatures for shorter periods of time. So you can actually take a piece out of the kiln and put one of these in a hole to close a hole while it's hot, and it's fine. which makes it very nice if you've got things like repairs or additions to do on a specific piece. Here's a little demo for you.
Here is a piece right out of the kiln. By the time I get back to the bench, the surface temperature has dropped to around 900 degrees, which is cool enough to use one of these stoppers for a short period of time. Here are two well-used stoppers. You can see the wear on them from repeated use on hot glass, but they still work fine.
Heat-proof silicone stoppers. They're tough, they're durable, and they're very inexpensive. There's a link in the description below to McMaster Carr and to Mountain Glass's selection of these stoppers. The next item today is another of those life hacks for flame workers. This is a spark plug sleeve, or boot. It's made of Kevlar, and guess what? It fits perfectly over the end of a pair of tongs. Ta-da! Instant finishing tool. They withstand temperatures up to 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit and provide sufficient insulation so that your glass isn't shocked by the cold tongs. They're the perfect finishing tool. Not only that, but they're very inexpensive, costing, well, not even $2 each. You can buy them on Amazon. There's a link in the description below. And yes, they get worn out. This is what a pair of worn out ones look like. They still work. I'm about ready to turn these around, face them the other way. When they do wear out, you just put on a new one. I keep bags of them in my toolbox. The last tool on our list today is the Dydy clip. These are made by Travis Weber. You can go out on DydyClips.com and see all about them. There's some very slick videos on how to use them. They come in a number of different sizes and configurations. I just use this one on my iPhone and it works great. Here's how. The way the Dydy clip works is very simple. You simply clip it over your camera lens on your iPhone, and you're ready to shoot. Now, one thing about the Dydy clips that I've noticed is that it does affect the focus. So make sure you adjust your focus after putting the Dydy clip on, because that extra piece of glass does change the iPhone's ability to focus. You can get your Dydy clips from DydyClip.com, link in the description below. So there you have it. 10 tools to make your life easier as a flame worker. If you know of a tool that you'd like me to cover here, or if you make or have designed a tool that you'd like to see me review, please get a hold of me. I'm always interested in new tools. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. We'll see you next time.